Today we're going to talk about the fallout from the Supreme Court decision granting Trump his delay in the immunity case, and I interview Pod Save America host Jon Favreau about how our strategy should change given the Supreme Court's decision, the warning signs for Trump in the Republican primary contests, and what to look for as we await the State of the Union address. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen, and you're watching No Lie. You know by now that our far-right Supreme Court has decided to grant Trump the delay that he so desperately wanted in the D.C. prosecution by agreeing to review this insane notion that a president has complete immunity to commit crimes while in office, which, at the end of the day, even this conservative Supreme Court isn't going to uphold. And so I want to be clear about what the implications are for Trump and how we should react to this. The implications for Trump are pretty simple. Because the Supreme Court agreed to hear this case at the end of April, Trump now gets a nice long delay and a virtual assurance that he won't be convicted before the 2024 election. End of April hearing at the Supreme Court means we likely won't get a decision for a month at least, which puts us into June. Assuming the court rules that he doesn't have immunity, which I expect they will, then Judge Chutkan's already assured him that he'll get 3 months to prepare, so that's September, then 4 to 6 weeks for the trial, plus jury deliberation, plus sentencing, puts us after the 2024 election. All thanks to a court that is purportedly there to defend the Constitution, not help a despot set it on fire. And yet, here we are. So Trump wanted a delay. He got the delay, thanks, I'm sure, to Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito and these other right-wing hacks on the court, which brings me to the second point. And this is the more important point because this we actually have some control over. I know that it's impossible not to see what's happening right now and to feel completely disillusioned. Like, this guy incited an insurrection in fucking January of 2021, and it's now March of 2024, and he's still gallivanting around the country and not in a jail cell. It goes without saying, but, like, if a black dude on the corner did 1/1000th of what Trump did, we all know where he would be. And so I get the feeling of hopelessness that you might feel, like this feeling of exhaustion and powerlessness and futility. I get it. But throwing your hands up in the air and giving up is exactly what Donald Trump wants. He wants you to feel like you have no power and that your voice doesn't matter and your participation doesn't matter because he's already won. That's what he wants. There would be nothing in the world that he would benefit more from. So not only would he get the delay that he's seeking, but then he'd also be rewarded by you checking out. Like, it's a double win for him. We can't reward his corruption by also giving him a clear runway to keep barreling forward. So the answer here, the only answer, is to keep fighting. And in fact, to let this inspire you to fight harder. Because I promise you, this will seem tame compared to a second Trump presidency. And we'll all wish that we had done more when we had the chance, and this chance is right now. Keep in mind, too, if you're feeling discouraged by this Supreme Court, by the polling, by just politics in general, all that matters are the votes. And in election after election, the Democrats are winning. That is what matters. We've won out in every election since 2018, and most recently, we've even won in states like Kentucky and Ohio and Virginia. Do not be swayed by a media that wants nothing more than to ramp up the drama to keep you hooked. By a media that cherry picks information that makes that drama seem more apparent. And look, would it be nice for the courts in this country to meet the moment? Absolutely. But let's be clear, our strategy here was never to sit back and just allow the courts to take care of it for us. Our strategy was always to do the work and to focus on our circles of people and to make sure that everyone is informed and engaged. And that doesn't change at all because of this Supreme Court decision. Again, it would have been nice if they did their job, but we still have ours to do regardless. So if you're upset, don't let it stop you. Let it push you even more to keep going. Here's a preview of my interview with Jon Favreau. We're now through 4 Republican primaries. Donald Trump failed to consolidate full support in all of them. He got 51%, 54%, 60%, and then 68%. So how much of a blinking red light is this for him? Because like Joe Biden, he's running as the incumbent, and Joe Biden has the advantage of getting 96% support, or in this most recent one, 81% support. So these are this is an apples to apples comparison because both guys are running as the respective parties' incumbents, but one of them is getting far less numbers than the other.
Yeah, we don't know, and like you said, because we are in an unprecedented situation where 2 presidents are in a rematch, which we haven't had. It's hard to sort of compare to the past, but I can remember in 2008 when Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton had a very long primary, and it was pretty clear in the late winter, early spring that Barack Obama had sewn up the nomination, but Hillary Clinton stayed in the race till June, and we got our asses handed to us in a lot of those primaries, and everyone kept saying, well, Barack Obama couldn't consolidate the party, and he's going to have big problems in the general. And they would interview Clinton voters, and like half of Clinton's voters said that they wouldn't vote for Barack Obama in the general, which did not happen. So that's only to say that it's not a guarantee that just because someone voted for Nikki Haley in the primary, they won't vote for Donald Trump in the general. But what I think Nikki Haley has done for the Democrats and for Joe Biden is to sort of leave a trail of breadcrumbs of voters that Democrats can target with persuasion efforts, because now we're going to know every voter that voted for Nikki Haley in all of these swing states. We're going to know where they live, demographics, and Democrats are going to be able to make their case to those voters and spend more resources targeting those voters than we would otherwise if she hadn't run. So, and I do think for some of if you believe a lot of these polls and a lot of these exit polls, a lot of these voters that are voted for Nikki Haley are saying things like Donald Trump is not fit for office. They believe that they don't believe in the big lie. They believe that Joe Biden won the election. Some of them are saying that if he's convicted, they're not going to vote for him. And a lot of them are saying that, yes, they voted for Nikki Haley, but we will not vote for Donald Trump in the general, right? Yeah. So that's a non-insignificant portion of Haley's voters have said this to exit poll. It's had this in exit polls. So, I think it's a good thing for Democrats. But we won't know until the fall. But I think that's where a big chunk of the persuasion efforts should go.
But also, this isn't some insignificant portion of her voters. This isn't like 2% of Haley voters. This is like 40% of her voters. There was as much as 82% of her voters in the most recent race who said that if Donald Trump was convicted of a crime, he would be unfit to be president. These are not small numbers.
Right.
And even if Haley has a quarter of the Republican electorate of true Republicans, that is still like half of that quarter is like not a small amount, especially in a race where Donald Trump's only goal right now is to expand his coalition, is to expand his tent. I mean, he lost Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania by small margins in 2020. His job right now is to be reaching out to independents and suburban moms and young people and people of color. And like, if he's got massive defections from within his own base, that ain't it.
Yeah, one way to think about it in Michigan is 100,000 protest votes against Joe Biden in a state that he won by 150,000 votes. Donald Trump, basically 300,000 protest votes against Donald Trump in a state he lost by 150,000 votes. So he already needs 150,000 votes just to get even in Michigan, right? And now, in addition to the 150 he was down from 2020, another 300,000 voted for Haley instead of him, right? So that's part of the math.
And how much misplaced optimism do you have with regard to Nikki Haley endorsing Trump or endorsing Biden at the end of this?
I think there's a 0% chance she endorses Joe Biden. I think there is I'm at like...
Well, I guess the real question should be, does she endorse Donald Trump or does she endorse nobody?
Right. So I think I'm at a 20-30% chance she endorses nobody. But I think she ends up getting behind Trump. But again, I would make the case to her that even for her own political future, that she should not endorse anyone.
Well, do you think that she's past the point of no return? I mean, she is the only person standing in between Donald Trump launching his a full-scale campaign against Joe Biden.
Definitely past the point of no return.
So
which is why I was.
So then, what are you doing?
What are you doing, right? Because if she, so let's go down the path. She endorses Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump loses, right? Then she is not the future of the party because she endorsed Donald Trump. Right. She was part of it. And someone else is going to come along and say, you know what, this whole Trump thing, this cost us.
Throw them all out the window. Yeah.
Now, say she endorses Donald Trump wins. He's not going to forget. He holds a grudge. Right? She's out. She's out no matter what. So there's no benefit to endorsing him. There's no future for Nikki Haley in a Trump-led Republican Party. There's just none. So, and I think she knows that. So if she knows that, then stepping back, right, she's going to get a lot of shit from the Trump people. She's going to be exiled from the Republican Party. She's going to have no future. But if Donald Trump loses and Joe Biden wins and she didn't endorse Donald Trump, then she can say, I still think she doesn't get a nomination because I think the party's too Trumpy, the base of the party. But at least she has an argument in 2028, which is, I told you so. I told all of you that this was going to happen.
To watch the full interview with Jon Favreau, click the thumbnail right here on the screen or check out the interviews playlist on my YouTube channel. You can also click the link on the screen to listen to the audio version, and of course to see more of my content, the subscribe button's on the screen as well.